Again, if you have not listened to the previous parts of this conversation, you can head on to YouTube and do listen. It's gonna be life transforming. I got a feedback from someone during the weekend, and the person said, and it's quite touching, that after listening to the conversation last week Sunday, he had decided, before listening, he had decided he was going to take his life. He was going to take his life. But after listening to the show, that he had enough hope and he was going to give it another try. And that feedback just broke me down. And I'm sharing this feedback to encourage someone out there who may be thinking that there is no hope anymore. I dare say to you that there is hope. There is hope, and things are going to turn around for you. Your life is going to turn around. Remember the person who called us this morning to say that for 20 to 25 years, his life was nothing to write home about. But come January this year, God remembered him and his story turned around. And that's no fluke. That's his testimony of many people. Many people. Things may have been bad. You have a job, but your job is not even enough to sort your transport fare, not to talk of your feeding, not to talk of your wife and then your kids. I guess many of us are privy to the video on Instagram. I saw the video during the week where a popular guy, Ashakain, that's his name, he just helps people, he takes them shops for them and all those things. And luck shined on, so to speak, on this particular bus driver. And it was his turn. And then this guy took the driver out, bought a lot of things. Maybe he spent about 2 million naira buying things for them, bag of rice, groceries, everything. And then he asked about the children, said he had 4 kids. He bought things for all the kids, asked about the wife, bought stuff for the wife too, took the man back home, asked him how much he makes on a daily basis. The man said he makes about 30 to 35,000 naira. And then he handed him 50,000 naira. That since he didn't work that day because he took him out, then this is the money for the day. Asked for how much he pays for the school fees of the children. He said maybe the eldest child, he pays about 90-something thousand naira for the child, and this guy gave them maybe around 300 and something thousand or 380 or so. I can't recall exactly. The point being that he took care of their bills. He took care of their bill. And of course, Nigerians, they see things way not everybody, of course, but they don't just see things going on well and they just leave it at that. They dug further to see that the man and his wife actually have been having marital problems. He's been having financial challenges, and the wife had been the one taking care of the house or something around that line. And now the man has been on some single fathers or single men's group claiming to need someone, and then the wife too has been claiming to be a single mother. Listen. Life is tough enough. So whatever you can do to ensure peace in your home, do it. Do it. There is nothing outside you are going to look for. Nothing. If God has blessed you with a man who is trying his best to make things work, to provide for the family, be patient with him. Help him. For you, the man, if God has given you a wife who is kind to you, who is even working hard to support you in the home, be kind to that woman. Be kind to that woman. Because both of you are one. And each time you do something to hurt that person, you are invariably doing something to hurt yourself. You may not know now that the things still they pepper you for body. But 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you wish you could turn back the hands of time and do it better. If you are listening to me this morning and your marriage is experiencing turbulence, it happens. It happens. But that turbulence will not sweep you away. Just like your business, there are times when you make a lot of money and there are times when you don't make a lot of money. Just like your health, there are times when you are perfect, you can run 100 meters within 5 seconds possibly. But there are times when you are just down and you can't even rise from the bed, you just need help. Or even if you're a worker, you know that every day is not Christmas. There are times when you have issues with your boss and you don't just wake up and say you're not doing again. You think about, if I just wake up and say I'm not doing again, what will your children eat at home? And for that reason, though it's not convenient, you stay there. You take the pain and the shame for the sake of the greater good of your home. And if you can bear this situation in other things, you can bear it also in your marriage. Nothing is perfect anywhere in the world. Nothing. The grass is as green as you make it. So I challenge you today as the man, especially because you are the leader of that home. You're not the leader because you brought money. You're not the leader because you are the leader because it is a God-ordained position. And you must take responsibility. That is what makes you a leader. You take responsibility for the people God has given you charge over. Take responsibility. Things may not be going on well today. At least be able to communicate with your partner. Give her hope. Women are really, really nice people. They're not as bad as sometimes we paint them. But when you yourself, you don't let them know what you are going through, they think that you have it all put together and then you are probably doing good outside and you are not kind to them inside. So please, please and please. The devil is not happy when marriages work. He's never happy. He's never happy. Because when a marriage breaks, the children break. These children see what is going on. They may not talk, they may not understand it, but they see what is going on. And guess what? The tendency that they will replicate what they've seen growing up is very high. So you're not just keeping your marriage together for your own sake. And I'm not saying lie. I'm saying try your best. You're not just keeping your marriage together for your own sake. You're also keeping it together for the sake of your own children and your children's children that you may not even know, or your children's children's children. And I pray God would help you to be the man that can take responsibility. And don't get tired. Yeah, it's hard sometimes, but don't get tired. Don't get tired. Just keep trying. Keep trying. And women, please be understanding and supportive. And I pray for every married person listening to me that God heals your home. In the name of Jesus Christ, that God heals your home. Peace is restored to that home. Whatever has been broken today by the power of God, healing comes into that home of yours. Whatever doors have been closed unto you as a man and unto you as a woman, I decree that those doors open of their own accord in the name of Jesus Christ. It is well. It is well with us. But that's not where we're going to today. And like I said earlier, I want us to have a different twist. Remember, the book of the Bible we've been considering is 2 Kings chapter number 4 and from verse 1 to 7. the story of the prophet Elisha and the poor widow. And I've read this over and over and over again. If you've been listening to me, you probably can recite this verse or this chapter of the Bible, by yourself now. But I'll read it again in case of the person who is listening for the first time and wants to get the hang of what we are saying. 2 Kings chapter number 4, verse 1 to 7. All right, just stick with me. So it says, one day, the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you is dead, and you know how he feared the Lord. But now a creditor has come threatening to take my 2 sons as slaves." Verse 2 says, "What can I do to help you?" Elisha asked. "Tell me, what do you have in the house?" "Nothing at all, except a flask of olive oil," she replied. And Elisha said, "Borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbors, then go into your house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Pour olive oil from the flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it is filled." Verse 5. So she did as she was told. Her sons kept bringing jars to her, and she filled one after another. Soon, every container was filled to the brim. "Bring me another jar," she said to one of her sons. "There aren't any more," he told her. And then the olive oil stopped flowing. Verse 7. When she told the man of God what had happened, he said to her, "Now sell the olive oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on what is left over." I pray for everyone listening to me today that the Lord opens your eyes, your ears, your hearts to receive wisdom, to hear what God will have you do, that will help you move your life forward in the name of Jesus Christ. All right, so we said last week that you should enlarge your capacity, because the prophet had advised this woman to borrow empty jars. Borrow empty jars. Don't stick to what you can alone. Go increase your capacity, because your miracle will stop at the point where your capacity stops. Your promotion stops where the capacity you have stops. So the reason you've been working for 15 years, 20 years, and there's been no form of promotion, whether financially or positional, is because you don't have the capacity for the next level. And your bosses are out to do business. They are out to make money. It's not a charity organization. They won't just promote you and increase your salary because they like your face. They will do it because there is more you can give to the company. Are you getting me this morning? So enlarge your capacity. That was what we talked about. So let's move on this morning. And the verse 4 says, "Then go into your house with your sons, shut the door behind you, pour olive oil from your flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it's filled." The key word I want us to note there is pour olive oil. Pour. The word pour there is an action word. It's a verb. It's a doing word. So it's an action. So despite everything that has happened from verse 1 up until verse 3, Elisha was still sending her back to work. Remember, I said 2 weeks ago that Elisha could have called the other members of the group of prophets and then just say, "Oh, this is our guy that has passed. Oh, the family has issues. The creditors are coming to take over the kids. Let's just contribute money and solve the problem." They could have done that. They could. Like many of us expect, we just go to people who we think have money to help us, and what we really are asking for is for them to inherit our problem and just solve it for us, not for them to teach us how to solve our own problems. Because that's what Elijah was trying to do there. Elisha, he could solve the problem, but he did not just solve the problem for her. He helped her understand how to solve her own problem going forward. Pour olive oil. Go do the work. So if you've heard what we've talked about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and now this week, and then you are still seated, like one man will say, you're on a long thing. So I've come to challenge you today to do the work. To do the work. See, James chapter number 1 verse 23 says, anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says. Listen, anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror. Someone who goes to the mirror now and just does what? Looks at his face, and you can see your fine face, fine girl. You know, I was talking to someone recently. It was sort of a counseling session, and I asked the young lady, because she had a peculiar complaint, and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how beautiful do you think you are? And this young woman said 10 over 10. And I smiled. I was happy for her, because that shows the good esteem, being beautiful in our own eyes. But look at what James is saying here. Imagine you now go to the front of mirrors, you look at yourself, and after looking at yourself, you go away and immediately forget what you look like. That is what happens when you listen to the word and you don't do anything about it. Verse 25 says, but whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what is heard, but doing it, such person will be blessed in whatever he does. So you can see now that the thing that is separating you from your blessing is not what you know, is not the revelation you've had, is not the books you've read, is not the certifications you have, is the work that you are doing. Or rather, the work that you have refused to do. That's what's separating you from what you're asking for. That's what's separating you from your blessings. The work. There's this mental gap between what we know and what we do. And that's the height of deception. The man who tries and fails is 1,000 times better than the man who doesn't try at all. That you try and you don't get it right. You are better 1,000 times than the person who just keeps wishing, thinking, preparing, but not doing. Look at what happened to the lepers. If we stay here, we will die. But if we go in there, they probably will kill us too. But let's just go in. It was when they took the step of faith to go into the city. That was when their miracle happened. Until you take the step of faith, nothing is going to change. Newton said, all things remain in state of rest or continuous motion until an external force is acted on it. Until something is done to it. Until something is done. Until you do something, nothing is going to do you. And it always seems impossible until it's done. The same thing you are complaining about what you don't have, being the reason why you're not doing what you're supposed to do, is the same things that someone else is doing and having results at. I'm telling you. In fact, the proof that you know how to do what it is that you claim you know how to do is that you've done it before. It's not that you've learned how to do it. So you learn, you get better. You generate results by doing, not by knowing. Not by knowing. Claim that you have all the faith in the world. Claim that you have all the belief, the hope in the world. But James is also telling us that the man who says he has faith, he says, the only way I will know that you have faith is that I see your work. The only way I will show you my faith is by my work. Your work is the proof of your faith. So you must do something. You must do something. You must do something. A wise man once said that amateurs sit and wait for inspiration, but the rest of us just get up and go do the work. Just do it. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you will never get it done. Take action first. Start doing it first. Make mistakes. It's okay. You have time. How old are you? You're thinking, no, if I do this one, I make mistake, I'd have wasted time. If you don't do it and not make any mistake, you still have wasted time. Because 4 years from now, you will not be any different from what you are right now. Just because you do not want to do it, you're afraid that you'll fail. Because fear of failure is a thing. Yeah, I know. But interestingly, fear of success is also a thing. We think people don't do things because they are afraid they will fail. A lot of people also don't do things because they are afraid they will succeed. I'm telling you. Because they're afraid they will succeed. The longer you spend, the longer the time you take not doing anything, the more you lose. The more you lose. Because time is the only resource that God has given you in this world. Time is the only convertible resource. The quality of your life is directly dependent on the quality of what you spend your time doing. But if you now don't spend your time doing anything, you've wasted your life. You've wasted your life. Have you wondered why they call it lifetime? Because your life is measured in years, in time. People pay for your time. When you have a job and you go from 9 to 5, or well, if you live in Lagos, you go from probably 6 to 7 or 6 to 9 p.m. Considering traffic and all those things. People are paying for your time. So time is the greatest resource. And the only way to not waste that resource is to do something. Do something. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed in the things you did not do than in the things you did. Are you listening to me this morning? You'll be more disappointed in yourself for the things you did not do. I was listening to was there an interview or something, and they were interviewing women who were in their, and men in their 70s, 80s, 90s. And majority of them will tell you, just do it. Whatever you want to do, just go and do it. They wish they had time to go back and do the things they did not do. Nobody regrets what they did most times. You regret more often what you did not do. What you did not do. You think those that are doing something and succeeding at it, they have this secret that they did not tell you. Let me announce to you that there is no big secret anywhere. There is no big secret. There is no secret at all anywhere. The only secret, if you should call it a secret, is that they have courage to do what it requires of them. They don't sit down hoping that things will get better. They get out and make things better for themselves. And if it doesn't work today, they try again tomorrow. If it doesn't work again tomorrow, you try again the following day. And you keep on trying and trying and trying until it works. Until it works. You think life will just give you what you want just because you asked for it once? Most times it doesn't happen that way. Do you know how many people you've asked for things and how many no's you've received in life? That's to show you that it doesn't happen that way. But Luke has advised us, right? Luke chapter number 11 and verse 8, he says, "But I tell you this though, if your friend will not give you what you're asking for because of the friendship's sake, but if you keep on knocking on his door long enough, he will get up and give you whatever it is you need because of your shameless persistence." The key word there for you this morning is shameless persistence. But if you do not do, how do you even get to the point of shameless persistence? How do you even become persistent at it? Are you listening to me this morning? Please, if I have to beg you, challenge yourself that you stop sitting down and expecting handouts and start doing something. Because people really want to help you, but they cannot just help you because you're a human being. They help you based on the vision. See, the word provision is from the root word vision. When there's a vision, where there's something you're trying to achieve with your life, provision is going to come. Provision is going to come. People will rally around you. We all see now the amount of Nigerians that are trying to, break Guinness Book of Record for this one, for that one, and then you see how much people support them when they are doing it. These people that are supporting them really, really will not get anything out of it. Now the person where they try to break the record, they get all the glory from the thing at the end of the day. But guess what? If they did not make that attempt, people will not come out to rally around them and support them. People will support you if you begin to do something. People will support you when you begin to do something. At least your friends and family. If you have years ago, I had this idea. It was novel. I'd never seen anyone do it before. I said, okay, let me experiment it. Let me see if it's going to work. I spoke to my colleagues at the time about it. Oh, see what I want to do. What do you think about this thing? I said, are you sure that is a thing at all? I said, well, let me try it. And then I tried it. I attempted it. I did it. I didn't wait for everything to be perfect. I attempted it. And my first customer was my colleague. He didn't even need it. It was his wife that he got it for. And then I got the next customer, and I got the third customer, and I got the fourth customer, and I kept on getting new customers like that for something that supposedly did not exist before. It was just a novel idea. It was just a need that I saw that people should need this thing. Let me see if I can do for one person. And then the next person wanted it, and then the next person wanted it. You will not know until you try. You will not know. You will not know. Because you still have food to eat now, you have clothes to wear, you have somewhere to sleep. So you're comfortable. You forget that most of the good things that you want in life, most of the progress you want to record in life will happen outside your comfort zone. Michael John Bolak said it. Bobak, he said, all the progress takes place outside your comfort zone. Outside your comfort zone. And I can hear somebody saying now that, but I don't even know how to start. I don't know. I don't have anything to. We've talked about this 2 Sundays ago. So I don't think you should be saying that you don't know what to do right now. But if you really do not know, and I must spell it out to you this morning, I'll say start with what you have. Start where you are. Use the little you have and do all that you can. Remember, the poor widow had just a flask of olive oil, just a little. In fact, she didn't think it was enough. But the prophets helped her see that you have is more than enough. And that was where a miracle started from. Somebody with me this morning. So do something. Do something. Just take an action. Take an action. Everybody you look up to, everybody you admire did something. Don't let time pass and you'll be wishing, I wish I did it. Do it first. Don't worry about failing. You just go ahead and do it. Give your whole heart to it. Are we together? Give your whole heart to it and do it. Do it. I recall many years ago when I wanted to get into the media industry, being a man who has an IT training. That was what I was trained to do. But I knew I wanted to be in the media industry. I wanted to do my IT in the media industry. I just knew it. I knew where I was going to. And no organization was going to employ because you don't have a training. You don't know what it takes. Guess what I did? I looked for a media house and I offered my service free of charge. I wasn't going to take any money. Free of charge. I went to the organization and I told them, I can do this. They said, no problem, but we don't have a need for you. I said, what if I do it for you at no cost? You don't need to pay me anything. I'm going to do the job for you. I recall that year, the transport fare from where I was living to the office of the company then was about 200 naira. That was years ago. 200 naira. Maybe today it's probably be, I don't know, maybe 1,000 or something. So it was quite a sum then. And then I did it. I would go 200 come every day. I'll not eat at the office because I didn't have plenty money to spend like that. And I was working at the end of the first month. Listen to me closely. At the end of the first month, the man gave me a substantial amount of money. And he said, thank you. And guess what accompanied that money? An employment letter. And he said, based on how you've worked this first month at no cost, and you even worked harder than those of them and paying salaries, I would like to employ you. So I'm sharing that story with you today to let you know that, see, there is something you can do. It may not look rosy, because many times when you tell people, oh, they'll ask you, first thing they'll ask is, how much? And it's not a bad thing to ask. We know, things are expensive. Everybody needs money. My emphasis today is that you take action. Take action. For those calling, please just give me a moment. I'll round this up in a few minutes now, then we can take calls. All right? We can take calls. So challenge yourself that this week I'm going to take action. I'm going to get off that place I've waited for so long and do something. Or somebody is saying, I'm praying to God. I want God to show me what I'm supposed to do. Oh God, while you are praying to God and waiting for God to speak to you, go and do something first. Go and do something. Jesus' disciples all had things doing. They were not idle. He picked them up from where they were doing something. Their biggest purpose in life was not to be what it was that they were doing. It was to serve Jesus, to promote the gospel. But guess what? They were doing something first of all. Even Jesus Christ, for 30 whole years, he was doing something. Papa did not say, I'm the son of God, and just sat down and crossed his leg that when it's time I'll just start making money or cashing out and just doing miracle up and down. No. He went around doing good. He went about learning stuff. He had a job. He was doing stuff. For about 18 years of his life, the Bible did not really tell us what he was doing. But then theologians said that he was doing stuff. He had a job. How much more you? So while you are waiting for that divine revelation, or waiting for that big business idea, or waiting for that big business investment, go do something. Go do something. All right? It is well. God will open your eyes to see opportunities. He will open your ears to hear opportunities. He will open your heart to conceive opportunities. And then he will give you strength to take action. And in fact, he's giving you strength. Scripture says that it is God who gives you the capacity to will and to what? To do. To will and to do. Your life will remain the same until you take an action. And I pray God helps you in Jesus' name.